your gear, it's time to soar. Time to climb. Anna and Ryan got the roots to adore. Scaling walls with hose galore. Cheeky banter, laughs and more.
Oh my gosh. Anna Hazelnutt coming at us from another coffee shop with another soundtrack in the background. Classic.
Yeah, I just gotta keep it in theme. Just me, you know. I don't have a house, don't have a place. Just gotta be at coffee shops all the time.
Just went and peed in the grass.
Yes. But when I went to pee in the grass, I went back to where I'm staying and the water was back on, which is awesome. But I peed in the grass anyways, you know, just for posterity.
Yeah, well, I mean, to keep it real.
Yeah, I was like, it's like you set forth an intention, you got to carry through. I was like, that's awesome. I can use the toilet. Okay. You know?
Yeah. I mean, as soon as you start peeing in a toilet regularly, you've like fully gone bougie and you're no longer the Anna Hazelnutt that we know and love.
Exactly. But I will have you know, check out how nice my hair is. I did shower yesterday for the first time in a week. I have 2 interviews today. Well, this podcast, I had another interview, and I was like, by God, I got to shower. I got to find a shower. But since there was no water, it was a little bit more difficult, but I did do it. So I'm pretty psyched on how clean I actually look.
You look fantastic.
Thank
you. Dude, let's
you know.
not bury the lead here. What did you just do?
I just sent the belly of the beast, which is
Go!
Which is my first in the grade. It's a project. It's in the middle of a multi-pitch. Yo, okay, I know this is not for podcast listeners, but for Patreon people to see, I'll describe it. I'll do like an audio description. But my friend took a video for like from the ground. So it gives like a bit more perspective of where this pitch is in the middle of our multi-pitch. And I'm just going to show you that video and we can just comment on it. But let's just see if this works. Okay, is that okay? I know it's like bad form in a podcast, but here we go.
No, this is fine. And remember, Patreon members of Anna's Patreon or The Struggle, you get to see this video here. Okay. Oh my God. Oh God, it's so far away. Bro.
It kind of gives perspective, right? Because it's like, you kind of see me climbing it and you're like, yeah, like that's, you know, that's far up. But at the same time, you know, how far is it? You know, all that stuff. So it's just like kind of cool to have that little perspective in there, right?
Can we,
and you can like see, like,
I mean, can we like really talk through this? I'm like obsessed with this pitch and this climb, and I just really want to make a meal out of it because this is something that you've been planning for a long time, that you and I have talked about on this podcast, as well as when we hung out in Vegas, and you've been training. And I just want to understand a bit of this process and to tee it up. Because you just showed me that video, you can tell us a little bit about like this wall and kind of just what this overall multi-pitch big wall project is. And then I think let's like really dissect Belly of the Beast, which is the name of the pitch that you did, which is this 14B pitch that's like, what is it, 500 feet up or something like that? It's insane.
Yeah, it's like probably 300-400 feet up. It's the 7th pitch, so I don't know what that kind of equates to, but maybe 5. I don't know. It's far up there.
Yeah, 7 pitches. I mean, that's definitely more than a few hundred feet. Okay, good. Well, let's talk about it. So you're in Mexico, and tell us a little bit about the kind of the overall objective here, and then I want to talk about Belly.
Okay, so I'm in Mexico, El Salto, Ciénaga de González. It's a beautiful climbing area here, like stunning. So, oh my God, sorry. I'm just like lost for words. It's like when I got here, it was just like so beautiful. I was completely captured by the rock just on the ground, like not
Had
even
you not
including
been there
the
before?
pitch. I've never been here before. I've actually never climbed in Mexico before. So it's so special because I don't know if viewers know that my mom is Mexican. She is from Tijuana. So I actually flew out from Tijuana. And it's just like really special because I've been to Mexico a lot to visit family, but I've never been like as an adult on my own accord to do the thing I like to do, which is climb. So it's like very special in a lot of ways to be here. And like, it's really cool because I get to like speak Spanish and do all the, like, it feels very amazing. So just to set the scene, it's just like lovely being in Mexico.
And it's a popular climbing area. Like I know, like I talk to climbers who go there like pretty much like annually. It just like sounds like it's kind of like a destination, climbing destination for climbers.
Absolutely. I think I'll go here annually, honestly, or at least like a couple, like it'll be a regular slot just because there is so much here and a lot of hard climbing too. I think that's where it like I haven't touched anything under 12C because I don't know how many of those grades exist. Like that's the warm up start. And so it's like kind of, I know there's easier climbs and they're working on developing more. So it's like a bit more like accessible, but it is like one of those places that I'm like, oh my gosh, like in order for this place to shine, you gotta be climbing like hard. And I think that's the reason why it's also still kind of relatively not unknown, but it's like small. It's a smaller community that goes because it's pretty intense. Like I was laughing because the first day I was there, it's just like my friends put me on a 12C and I was like, is there anything like easier to warm up on? And they're like, no. I'm like, oh, okay. All right. Well, like just adjust that mental state. Like, all right, let's go for it, I suppose.
When you're climbing, 13 plus into the mid 14s. Yeah. 12C's your warm up, Anna. That's it.
But it's not my warm up. I like 10s and 11s to warm up. Like, I don't know. It's just so funny, but it is like a bit intense, because of that. But yeah, it's a beautiful place, beautiful destination, winter location, So that's awesome too, because it's a winter destination.
Right. And then this project is a project or was a project. You and your friend Connor have like had this in your sights and essentially you've been working on or preparing to try to put this thing together as a first ascent.
Yes. So Connor just became the first person to free all the pitches, but the climb itself does have a history to it. And I apologize for not being able to name drop right now because I just don't quite have all of the names, but it was first started and envisioned by a Mexican crew here who, I guess like envisioned this line.
Cool.
And I don't know how many years ago that was, quite a while ago. I want to say like 20, like 10, 20, something like, years ago.
Wow.
And then an Italian crew came and finished the line in a sense, like finished bolting it, like created pitches, but they were unable to free the middle 3 crux pitches. And then I'm not sure what has happened in the interim, but now Connor, Rundy, and I are, going for it. And Connor just a few days ago, like just before I sent the belly, had freed successfully every pitch, making him the first person to do so. So that is just like beyond amazing. We got to name those 3 pitches. Connor let me name the belly, even though I hadn't sent it yet. So I named it Belly of the Beast because I was calling it that because it's so overhung in the middle of the wall and the static line makes like a belly and it's so hard to jug up. Like you have to like fall into it. It's like you go down. It's just like this huge, and I was all like, and then once I got stuck in the belly and he was like, what's happening down there? And I had like the whole bag and everything. And I was like, I'm stuck in the belly. And he's like, what? And I'm like, I'm stuck in the belly of the beast. And so that's where the name comes from.
Oh, I love it.
And yeah, it's really cool because now I'm the second person to have freed the hardest pitch on it. And that feels really cool. And I just hope to continue and be the second person to free all of the pitches. That's my goal. I don't feel like I'm in a position to be able to do it all in one push, but potentially Connor and I are talking about a team ascent where I would try to do it in a push. And like, if I don't, like, I'm trying to keep the pressure off because there's a lot of pressure to do this pitch because it was like a new grade. It was like a new style. It was really intense for me. So I'm just grateful to have done, like, I feel so much more relaxed and I'm really about to just enjoy the process, the rest of the process for the next month of getting on it. Although we need a break, like we are destroyed. Like we're going to take about a week off from the belly and or from the whole pitch, the Shaman Loco it's called. And we're just going to like do some ground days,
Yeah, dig it. Well, it is interesting because I want to kind of explore the emotional process for a second here because the last that we had connected on this until I heard about you sending that 14B Belly of the Beast pitch was that you had essentially done that pitch up to the last hard move and fallen on the last hard move at least a couple times or a few times in a row. And you sent out a Patreon member of yours. And so you sent out like an update. And then you also, I messaged you after I read that and we were kind of chatting back and forth. And I could feel like the weight of the emotion on that. You seemed like, I won't say defeated, but like it seemed like that kind of worked you, getting so close, but not quite pulling it off. And I think regardless of the grade that we climb, a lot of us who are, on this conversation here have experienced that. So tell me just what that was like, experiencing the almost, but the not quite, and just where that put you emotionally.
Oh my gosh. Honestly, it was so heartbreaking, which is, unfortunate because what I wanted and like logically, I was like, I should be so psyched. I just got this high point twice, you know?
Yeah.
I'm so close to sending. And so in my head, I had this like conflict of like, I want to have a good mental like mindset. Like I really want that. But like sometimes it just doesn't, you just can't. Like I just couldn't. I was like, I think maybe because it's the first of the grade and everything, I'm like, I didn't trust the process and it felt like I needed this, like I didn't have any proof of concept for it. And I was just like, I really want to be that person who's just like, I'm psyched, like it's gonna go, like so positive, like in the process. But I just like wasn't that person. And it felt like, I feel like this happens every time I care a lot about a climb. And I hope that this process gets a little easier, but it happened the same way on To Bolt or Not to Be. Like I fell right before the chains and I like cried my ass off and I like was so sad. Same thing happened to Belly of the Beast. Maybe a little less dramatic. Maybe it is getting better, but I did cry and scream and I was just not psyched. I was like upset. So I'm not like super proud of that, but also, you know, it is what climbing gives me is like this intense like wave of emotion. And it's kind of why I do it too, is to care. So it's just like, and maybe why I do it is also to work on that and to like be able to care without like losing my shit. I'm not there yet, but that was like really intense. And I think like, I don't know. It's just like, do you feel like this? Like when you get really close, you're like, but like everything was lined up. Like I took a rest day. I felt so good. I ate right. I slept well. Like the weather was good. Like what if these things don't line up again? And what if that was my best chance? Like, what if it just lasts? And so I get like this, like existential kind of like thought process, like this ultimatum. It's like, this was it. And now it can't happen again. And it's kind of silly because it's like, that's never been the case, you know, like I always seem to improve, get better, like even just like on the grander scheme, like the grander scope of things, like I seem to be improving constantly. So it's like, there's no reason for me to believe that this is like the last chance I get, but it just feels so dire in the moment. Like, do you feel like that? Do you get that? Do you know what I mean? Or...
Yeah, I think I do, because I feel like the biggest disappointments that I've experienced is when the reality didn't meet the expectation. And the expectation tends to be highest when the conditions align, like all the little circumstances feel optimized. Like you're saying, like you rested well, you ate well, the conditions were good, you were feeling positive and psyched, and then it didn't happen. And so then we kind of create this narrative, which is like, oh, well, if I can't do it, then, you know, will I be able to do it when it's not as good? And the funny thing is, at least for me mentally, is sometimes when the conditions aren't so good, I'll like relieve myself of that expectation. I'll be like, well, you know, I'm a second day on, I'm a little kind of haggard or a little powered down, or, well, humidity's at 60% instead of 40%. Like, you know, no real expectation. And then sometimes it comes together because I don't feel like it needs to happen. And I don't know if that's what happened with you. Maybe you just needed to work the moves a little bit more because, like you said, you got a high point. It was a great day. It just didn't quite happen. And sometimes as we get really close, it's harder to see progress because you just feel like you just want to do the thing.
Yes, very well put. Yeah, I mean, I was so, like, the thing is, though, that I understood that the reframing was going to be really important. So, like, once I had some time, and it takes, like, hours to get down from that wall, you know, and once I, like, got to talk to people, how'd it go today? You know, this, like, the normal, like, the very supportive community here. And instead of being like, oh, like, I'm so upset because of this, I, like, very intentionally was like, I got a high point twice. Like, I'm so close. So I tried to like, just like work on reframing it when I talked to people, and it kind of like recreated the narrative. And actually the next day I went out to the climb, I like came in really positively. And I was like, I got that high point. I just need to like, maybe like, I also learned a little bit on that attempt that I need to just go into the penultimate move a little more like engaged. And I just had like these tiny little micro things that I was like figuring out. And I was like, you know what, there's still more to learn. It's not over yet. And then I fell again, but like a little, like at the last hard move again, but just like a little more close to it. Like it was just a bit more secure. So it was like roughly the same fall, but not really. And then I started to get really frustrated because it was like a repeat of the last time. But then I feel like that little mini tantrum lasted a very short amount of time. I was able to pull it together. I was like, I just need to pull this. If I want to send this, I need to get my shit together. Like I cannot lose it like last time, because last time it like emotionally drained me and I was like out. Like I could not do any more attempts.
Right.
So I just like got it together, and then I sent the next go, and it was just awesome. It felt so good.
When you mini tantrum, what does that look like?
I usually cry. But this time it was more like I fell. I think I have a video of my mini tantrum on one of the high point things, actually, because like I just like got really silent. Like there's nothing. It's almost like eerily quiet, where I'm just like, like I screamed and I just like came off, and I was just like, and then this like single tear. And then probably a declaration to let Connor, my climbing partner, know. I was like, I am so disappointed right now. I am so disappointed right now.
Oh, it's so real.
It's just like little tears. I'm just like, oh my God, I'm so sad.
I mean, no doubt.
And I'll say that, while I'm crying, I'll be like, I am so sad I'm crying. I'm so disappointed right now.
I like that, though. I like labeling those emotions and recognizing them and honoring them. And then I love that you collected yourself, rested, I'm sure, and, took the time that you needed, pulled on and executed. And this pitch, like, so we'll link to some of the videos because you posted some cool stuff, and there's like incredible footage. I don't know if it's drone footage or somebody on a rope, but like it's an insane sequence. That move where you like do that huge right hand cross. I mean,
the tornado move.
Oh my God. It's the fucking coolest looking move like in climbing. I couldn't, when I saw that, I was like, what is this move? It looks so crazy. And it looks like the stuff that you're setting up on looks really bad. I mean, it's 14B, so it's obviously incredibly hard. Yeah. But it's also really steep, which, I keep saying, hey, let's get you into the steep. And here you are into the steep, Anna. So it's like not only your hardest grade, but also in a style that one wouldn't like kind of immediately think would be your kind of low-hanging fruit or what you would push into the next grade on. Typically, we push into the next grade on the stuff that's in our style, but this looks steep as shit.
Yeah, I have a lot to say about this, actually. I just posted on Patreon about it too with the full video, which is cool. The full like from the anchor to anchor, but yeah, so you can check that out. But basically I wrote a lot about like how it feels like a long time coming, but like really unexpected at the same time, maybe for like viewership, but like it's been years. Okay, so I guess I sent my first 514 a couple of years ago, and it was like pretty in style and potentially on the softer end of the scale. I'll leave that there. In my opinion, it is, but I don't want to I wouldn't ever devalue it as a 514, but like every grade is going to have its ranges.
Sure.
Everyone knows there's sandbag climbs of every grade, and then there's soft climbs of every grade, and that's totally valid. That's part of how climbing works.
Yeah, I exclusively look for the ones that are like, this is probably soft. That's where I live. So you're speaking my language. And honestly, to be fair, oftentimes when we push into a new grade, we're not looking for the hardest of the grade.
No, right. So I feel like I started there, and then I also did a little foray into trad climbing, but generally it's sport climbing. I kind of started finding that my style of slab and vert climbing, it really capped out around 514A in every place I went to. That kind of felt like the natural cap. And if I wanted to do more than that, I'd have to really specifically travel the world to do it. And then there's a chance it might be really morpho. And that's the reason why it's, it's super fucked up or something. Right. So it's just this style really lends itself to being really nasty at the harder grades. And it was I was finding it really difficult to improve because I would pick harder projects, but they would still be in 14A range. And so over the last 3 years or whatever, I've been slowly taking off harder and harder 514s. I feel like the culmination being the bolt or not to be, which arguably might be one of the hardest 14As that exists, especially in that grade.
No doubt.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but I think it's a contender for one of the harder 14As out there.
Yeah, I think it very much has that reputation. No doubt.
I don't want to I'm not trying to fluff my feathers or anything like that. I'm just realistically trying to put into perspective the fact that I feel like I've been improving in this style without the grade to show it.
Right. Got it.
And then all the while, I've understood that in order to push the grade, I probably need to branch out in style because it's just getting really heinous and the grades aren't changing. So it's like I can find another 14A that's harder, maybe bentable, and just the grades aren't changing. It's just 14A because people don't think slab or vert can be much harder. And I know there's harder stuff. Like I have it on my radar. I'm not trying to not push it, but I just like had this understanding. So the last few years I've been trying to diversify because I felt like that's a way that I can like push the grade and find that like, I don't know, that like, it's part of climbing, isn't it? Like you want to push grades, like you want to keep getting better, and it's just like hard to feel stagnated even though I know I'm getting better. It was just like a bit frustrating mentally, and I was like, how do I see progress again? So I started at my anti-style, and I was looking like 3 years ago I projected like a 13A in my anti-style. It took about a month of projecting to get it. And so from there, like I've just been slowly kind of, you know, chopping away at this, at like trying to bring up like trying to diversify my style. And then we kind of start seeing that reach the same as my vert and slab style around third millennium in Colorado, where it's like, oh my gosh, I did like this 13D/14A in my anti-style slightly. I mean, there's still crimps, but you know, we're kicking back a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's like slowly building into this moment where I feel like now I have like a broader style. And so it wasn't too much of a shock. Well, it felt, I was like ready for it. You know what I mean? And it's been like years of trying to diversify and do this. So it just felt like a lot of emotion. And the reason why it was so important was because it wasn't just like this month of projecting it. It was years of working up to be able to do something like that. So,
yeah, it's the culmination of, such a deliberate strategy that you've set to grow as a climber and not just pluck the low-hanging fruit or go for kind of the quick win, but knowing it, kind of playing the long game, because you got, you know, many years, decades of hard climbing ahead of you. To put in that work, I find really inspiring, and it must be incredibly rewarding to see it culminate in this way. I mean, it's not culminating, but like to see it essentially the fruits of your labors over the last few years. And it is interesting, like from the outside, it's not apparent all the work. I mean, we see you climbing, you know, you had that great day with Emily Harrington up at the Clear Lake Cave, and you've been working with, at least you had told me that you were working with a coach back home prior to this trip to like really,
for a few weeks.
Yeah, to dial up some power and some strength. And, you know, again, to continue to just top up the things that you've been working on deliberately over years. And it's freaking rad to see it in the sense. And I have to imagine, because you're such a technically strong climber with the way that you ascended through difficult climbs on vert and slab, that now as you just build strength and power, you're still using so much of that technicality and using your feet and your legs and keeping the hips close and your flexibility and all the things that are kind of required on the more vert and slab side, translating that to steeper climbing. It sounds like, I mean, it's probably something I need to work on. I probably need to do more slab days to get better at steep climbing rather than just steep climbing days.
Yeah, I hope so. I think so.
I'm not going to.
Dance. Yes, you are. We'll do something more. You already have. Remember when we climbed together? You don't know it, but it's starting. You're starting to like do it.
That was really fun. Like when you taught me slab, that was really fun. And the benefit of climbing in an anti-style is that the breakthroughs come pretty fast and pretty big. And so that was actually a cool experience for me to do that. I haven't done it since, but I did like doing that day with you.
Yeah, that was so fun. But I agree with the anti-style, like the breakthroughs are bigger. Like, and also because I'm coming from such a like technical messed up style going into over, I'm like, oh, all the holds are so big. And I know it's at 40 degrees, but I'm just like, this is fine. Like this will be a lot more reasonable to push grades in this style than it is in slab and vert. I'm like, this is great. This is
40
cool.
degrees is crazy too. So is Belly of the Beast, is that pitch at around 40 degrees?
I think. Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, I was just on the moonboard this morning before coming to this session. I did like a moonboard session where I literally spent like 90 minutes just not being able to do single moves. It was really humbling. And that's steep. I mean, 40 degrees is very steep. So for you to be hundreds of feet up, 40 degrees, you know, and I'm sure the holds aren't very good because it's a 14B. And then that movement was wild. I mean, that tornado move, like you're saying, where you cross that right hand over and then like fully cut feet and jump and swing out and grab what looks to be like kind of like a bit of a horn or something that's kind of sticking out there. I'm like, just like fully dynamic, like really rad looking movement so high up. It's really cool to see you execute. I haven't seen the videos of you projecting it, and maybe those are on Patreon. I should go back and take a look. But like, how do you work out limit boulder problems in the middle of in pitch 7 of a multi-pitch? It just seems so tactically hard to figure out.
It's so hard. I actually just posted like a fit check with all of my things on my harness for the rope climbing. Like, so I do a mixture of a couple jugging techniques based on the gradient of the wall and top rope soloing to warm up. So I have like all these systems in place, and then I will either haul or take a little backpack up, and then I'll set up the rope and everything. It's just like, it takes about, so it's an hour hike in, which includes a river crossing where you have to take your pants off, which is always fun. It's like, there's like a waterfall and you're just like questing through this like ice cold river in the morning. It's like pretty epic. Yeah. So it's about an hour hike, and then it takes about an hour to get to the climb of constant jugging or climbing. And basically it's about honing in the jugging techniques. Like, I have a 2-ladder system with 2 jugs. I have a 1-ladder pulley system, and then I have a 2-jug 1-ladder system. So there's like 3 different systems I'll use depending on what part of my body is fatiguing. So I'll try to rotate through to like conserve energy. And then the pitch is quite short. It's really short. It's well bolted. I never had any kind of mental battle as far as fear goes on this climb. It was really nice, actually, because it's like, okay, at least that isn't on my chest as well. Like, at least it's not some fucked up run out. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that was nice because there was already a lot on it. And then it was just about like working it. So you have the tornado move, which took a couple sessions for me to figure out, because originally, and this is what Connor still does, we were doing that move and just holding it one arm swing. And that just like was so draining to hold a crimp with one arm, like in a swinging dynamic move. It just felt, and then I just like campus up and match the crimp. Jug. I call it a jug, and I called it a jug for the process, but it's not a jug. Like, it's like a crimp. So that was like a lot. So it took a couple sessions to find that if I jumped more sideways and like palmed into this like tufa, then I could like hold the swing a little bit better. So that's what you see in my final beta.
Yeah.
And then there's a knee scum after that I had to like train because it felt so bad. It's a scum. Like, it might look like I'm in a good knee bar because I'm resting on it, but it's like, it's so bad. And so like, I kind of was training that specific knee bar just by doing it over and over again and like holding the position and like kind of like hip thrusting into it. And then I would do repeats on the boulder, because there's like, I don't know what Connor gives the grade, but I felt like it was like a V10 boulder after that. Yeah. So the crux is not the tornado move.
Oh, that's not the crux?
No. That's like one of the easier moves.
What? Oh my God. Oh my God.
The crux is the V10 after the tornado move without the good rest in the middle.
Oh, holy
Look,
shit.
I'll show you. Let me show you this. This is not for publishing, but this is like, I just want to show you. This is what my hands look like up there.
Oh, put that closer.
On the V10 after the tornado move.
Oh, no. You're like Spock pinching?
Yeah. So this is after the tornado move.
And like, you don't have any feet on the wall there.
No.
You like cut
this
feet
is
and
the
you're
steep.
holding
This
it?
is how steep it is. Like, it's very, yeah. So it's like, yeah. Anyways, I was like, it's so funny because everyone's like, whoa, that's cool. But this is the end move this is the move I kept falling on the V10.
No.
Yeah. So it's like, there's like, it's so funny because that move, obviously the showstopper, it's so cool, but it's definitely not the crux.
That is wicked.
Like,
but to your point, you're going into that V10 crux section fatigued because you've just done some hard moves, lock off, a swing. You've climbed into it. Okay, so then you were falling on that part of the move. Yeah, I'd be crying too. That's heartbreaking. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm so psyched for you. I like, you did it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but that's how you, I don't know if that answers your question, but basically it's just like a lot of work to project it. And then Connor's ahead of me in the process. He's so strong. He sent it pretty fast. So then what we would do is kind of have a split day where I would project that pitch on the way up, and then he was starting to project the next 14. And so we would like continue up to the next 14, and then I would support him on that. And we kind of have these back and forth moments and just trying to strategize. But it is a lot of work. It's a full day. and you get there tired, and you'll never not get there tired. That's the thing. Like, that's just part of doing it in the middle of the wall.
Right. Yeah. Even just like jugging up, like you're just in the hike in and all of that, you're carrying some fatigue in. Yeah. And huge congrats to Connor for, freeing all the pitches, putting it together. I know he's still hoping or planning to try to do the whole thing in a push. Where are you at now in the process? Have you done everything from the ground up to that? Are you trying to go in order? How does it work when you're dissecting this kind of thing?
So there's so many ways to do it, and there's so many different styles. And best style is like ground up on-siting. I'm not there. That was never where I was. I'm just grateful to be on it. So I kind of like did some climbing up until that, but basically I stopped at the belly and I just like really targeted in on that climb because I knew if I can do the crux pitch, I can do every other pitch. This is the pitch, like I had this confidence going in, and I think that's also part of the pressure. It's like, if I don't do this, like I can't do the rest. But like, so since I've done that now, the next day that we spend out there, I'm going to do a half push. So I'm going to try to lead from the ground to the base of the belly. Wow. And free all of those. So that includes a couple 12 pluses and a 13C. So that'll be kind of fun. And I think that'll be one day for me. And then Connor is going to follow, and then because we're still a team, he'll switch over to leading starting from the belly, and we'll just see how far we can go up. And then I have to start working the top pitches, which includes 3 more 13Cs and 1 14A. So it's like, the work is not done, but
this route is stacked. It's not like there's like a 14B and then it's like 511 for every other pitch. Like this is like a stout, consistent. How many pitches total?
14.
14 pitches of like 13 14. Plus into 14.
So like 11 hard pitches. The first 3 are kind of jungly. They're like 5'8", 5'9", 5'3". That's fine. Yeah. And then the rest of them are pretty hard. Let's see, I'm looking at the topo. So there is like 2 pitches that are not the hardest. They're like 12 minus, and that'll be nice, but they are physical. They're like tufa knee barring, like physical pitches. Yeah. So it's like, even though it's just 12 minus, it's like still like, I don't know. It all feels hard to me. Like if it's not like hard, like on the movements, it's hard, like full body. Yeah. Like I find those tufa pitches really hard. It's like 7B and it's supposed to be like the easiest, but it's like, I'm like, whoa, this 7B is hard, man. Like it's like a tufa, you're like knee barring, like you're like wrestling with the tufa and you're like, I get why it's easier, but like, oh my gosh, it's tiring. It doesn't like
full body workout. It's funny when I was talking with Coach Carly Rager for the show, and by the time this comes out, my episode with Carly will have come out, but she's your roomie. And when I was talking with her, I was like, how's it going with Anna out there? And, are you teaching her any more, tricks like how to use a faucet or a toilet? Because you guys did that really funny video together. And she's like, honestly, right now, I'm just trying to teach Anna to bring knee pads out to her project and use frickin' knee pads. So it sounds like you are.
I kept forgetting it. She's like, she's like, you don't have it? And like still, and I was like, just like strength through it. And she's just like, oh my gosh. And so instead of putting knee pads or like knee bars where I should to rest, I'm just like, whatever, like let's just like squeeze hard. She's like, no.
Oh my gosh, it's so great. I love the adventure that one takes on in doing something like this. Like the experience isn't just, can I go do a hard single pitch of climbing, but it's just the whole thing, the whole experience of being on a wall and sharing it with Connor like you have and with the others out there. Awesome. Yeah, it just sounds so cool. I love that. I mean, I don't climb at that level, but I love those bigger days on a multi-pitch because it's just it's just a different experience. The relationship with the rock is different. Like everything just feels more frickin' epic,
Yeah. And it's so cool to be roommates with Carly because Carly and Mango are doing their own big wall FA and La Gloria. So it's like so cool because we're both just like, we kind of come back and we're like, how did your day go? She's like, how did your day go? And we like share sometimes the ground days because it's so hard to be on a big wall all the time. So like I've been climbing a lot at Las Animas and just doing like single pitch climbing. And I'm editing a video now of one of the climbs I did here like a couple weeks ago when I first got here. Cool. And it's kind of fun, because it's like this like cool like split and we get to share it. It's really awesome.
So how much more time are you out there and how much kind of expectation or pressure are you feeling to be able to put together the rest of the pitches on this route?
I really want to do it. I have one more month. I have the month of February. So a short month. It's the 4th already. So yeah, let's say 3 more weeks. And I really want to free all the pitches, which is going to be pushing it, especially with the push days going back and forth there. So that's going to be hard. But I really want to do that. And I think it's enough time to put down the climb if I want it and if everything goes well. And then in the meantime, too, because I can't spend all the time on the wall. Like even for Belly of the Beast, like we were going every like 3rd or 4th day. And then we took a week off because of weather. So I've been here a month, but it wasn't like all the time on the belly. It was like 6 sessions or something.
Right.
You know, which is a lot, 6 or 7. I don't know. I didn't count them, but like, it's not like we're on the wall. It's just too much. Sorry about the music.
First of all, that's not a lot of like 6 or 7 sessions for you to send your hardest pitch of climbing in your anti-style is crazy. You are like, that just means you're obviously capable of doing more. I mean, that's nuts. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, I'm so pumped for you. Okay, I got to get to Mexico. Everybody who's listening, let's all train and let's all get out to Mexico. It sounds like a fun time.
You got to get, it's so good.
How's your health? Like, how do you hold up when you're kind of going that hard and you're living in, at least when I was talking to Carly, like it was super cold and I could see her breath in your house while I was interviewing her. And she was like laying in bed with a Nalgene full of hot water. And, you know,
I almost made a Nalgene here. Yeah, it's cold. Now it's getting warmer. So I have been really intentional with eating food and enough of it and refueling. Because I think that's the main thing that when I do these long trips, like after my Tuolumne trip, I was emaciated. Like I did not feel well. I totally lost weight. And it was just like, because it's so easy when you're just wrapped up in the objective. And then all of a sudden you're like, wow, I'm climbing great. Because maybe you've lost a few pounds. And then the next day it hits you, you get sick, you get injured, you don't have any power left. And it's just not the way. And I came in to this trip with I don't want to feel burnout. I don't want to feel totally emaciated or eviscerated like at the end of my trips. Like I want to keep my power. I need my power. I don't want to go through that up and down again. So you would not guess what I ate yesterday. It's like an absurd.
I love food talk. Let's go.
So after the big wall, because we did the push yesterday, we came down a little early because we did bail. But Connor did so well on he's gonna do it. We just not the first time. So we came down. And I immediately walked to La Choza. And that day, including during the push and aside from snacks, I was snacking the whole day and all that stuff. But I had 9 pieces of pizza with 4 eggs on it. As a meal, as a concept. That was that's more than 1 full large pizza. That's 1 piece more with eggs on extra. I put extra toppings on it.
I love
and I woke up hungry
eggs on
today.
pizza. Eggs on pizza is such a hack. It's so good. A fried egg on a pizza. Oh.
I basically sandwiched the pizzas and put an egg in the middle. And so they were a bunch of sandwiches.
Hell yes. Dude, I think honestly, I feel
eating.
Pizza's the best snack for the Crag or for after. I mean, you're getting all the food groups in there. Yeah, good for you. I mean, you look great. You sound great. You're, working really hard out there. You're taking care of yourself. I'm pumped, Anna. Look at you. You're all grows up.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. I know. I'm glad we could talk about it too. Cause I was you were texting me we need to do another Crag Chat. And I was not now, Ryan. Not now.
Yeah, you were so stressed. I was
you were those texts.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm I recognize it when, in a partnership, with my wife, where it's okay, I can see, you're going through some stuff. I'm just going to slowly back out of the room and just be it's cool. I got, nothing. And I remember I sent you a message. I was fuck the Crag Chat. We'll do it in a couple months. It's all good. And then 2 days later, you're I sent the thing. Let's do the Crag Chat. And I was okay, here we go.
It's just for me, I'm finding it really difficult to have such big objectives and really push myself in this way and continue to work. And I know that, I mean, what a privileged statement to say. And I recognize that, but it's just the reality of it for me personally is I'm finding this really difficult. So my media has slowed. I'm basically I'm just I just need to take time to do the thing. And then after I do the thing, I have all this capacity to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to share. I have more media. Like, it just makes sense for me to have these lulls kind of built into my work. And it's like, I'm really grateful that I can start doing that. And so I think in the future, especially with all these big objectives, I think we will see more. Like, I'll, like off grid, just like silence, and then just be like, okay, everyone, like, here's a little update, and then silent, it just like, I have to have that mental space. It's just really hard for me to like be present when I have so much on my mind and I'm feeling overwhelmed about projects. And I'm lucky I got to do that, like, I feel like very grateful for the opportunity to focus in like this on such a big objective, but it just requires so much mental energy. It's just like, I don't have any to give anyone else.
Yeah, good on you for recognizing that. I had a conversation just before I saw you, when I was out in Moab hanging out with Tom Randall. I had a conversation with him about like, hey, what does it take to continue to progress? And, he and I are the same age. We're 45 or right around the same age, I think. And I'm like, how many more years do we have? And he's like, oh, we got loads more years. The biggest crux is managing all of the other life stuff so that you can continue to have that energy and that space to try hard, whether it's at the gym or out on a project. And, the allostatic load that, we typically take on more and more as we get a little bit older. And so for me, with kids and jobs and a podcast, it's sometimes I'll get to the gym and maybe I won't have climbed for a couple of days, but I just don't have anything in me because I've just been using my brain so much, it's just been draining. And so to really intentionally give yourself that space and say, hey, I'm in Mexico for a couple of months. This is really important to me. Like, I'm just going to slow down on putting out content or whatever. That's great. I mean, like, that's what you need. And then you went and did the thing and you probably get a little burst of creative energy because like now there's a little pressure off or you're psyched and you want to share it. And so it just goes in those waves and, we'll all just wait for whatever it is you're putting together. Just don't make us wait too long.
Yeah, I will. I'm like, I do get these creative waves and it actually gives me a lot to do and not think about the project on my rest days. So like I said, like we've been doing ground days where I've been like climbing a lot in Animas and like I've been creating, like I've been making a really kind of grassroots video because my camera got dropped into water. No more comments. So we're it's like no further comments on this.
Balls.
And yeah. So it's okay. So it's like more iPhone footy, but I think the story is cool. And it's honestly, it feels more dirtbag anyways. It's just like, whatever, like it's going to be fun. I'm going to post that at some point. And it's just like, I am having a lot of fun creating like a film from my Mexico trip that doesn't revolve around the big wall. And like, I would like to do something about the big wall, but like, that's a little bit much right now because I'm still in it. But this other thing I sent like a couple weeks ago, and it's just like kind of cool to have like a creative outlet. So I do, even when I'm taking a break, I am constantly creating because that's how my brain works. It's just I might not be like posting because that requires just so much more. Like, like now you're in the YouTube scene, you understand. It's like thumbnail, title, like analytics, like when should I put, like there's just so much like work that isn't the fun part. And I just like, I'm still doing the fun part when I'm off here climbing because it gives me something to focus on. I'm just not doing the boring work part. And that's why everything gets on hold. Like I actually have a ton of content I could post, but like, I just like don't have the capacity to do that part, that step. So
no doubt.
It's just about that's why I started my like Latina muscle mommy thirst traps of 2024 that I missed out on. And I saw that, but I was like, I have so much content. It's just like, I'm in the thick of it and I just like can't do it until I can do it. So here you go. It's 8 months late, but here you go.
It's so good. It's worth the wait. The slow motion with the hair whips and the slapping of the volumes. And, it's so good.
The leg.
Let's get you paid for a second here. Let's talk about the sponsor of this Crag Chat, which is our friends over at Rungni. And I'm assuming you're taking care of your skin and you're keeping your fingers nice and dry with some of that sweet mag juice, maybe that mag dust out there in El Salto. And they've got this new mag lock. Have you tried that yet? There's this new like mag lock that just came out that's like,
bro, what does that even mean?
Not chalk. It's like, I don't know. It's $100 a bag. That's all I know.
What the heck? I will be texting them very soon to see what. I can't get any deliveries here. I have to wait till I'm not in Mexico in the middle of nowhere. Like I brought
you packed like kilos of white chalk and brought them down to Mexico. You were smuggling kilos of mag dust down to Mexico.
Very much, yes. And I've already gone through one bag. So like I'm like, all right, I got one more bag. It's like a bag per month, I guess, is what I use. So I have one more month, one more bag. Boom.
Yeah.
Easy.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, I love it. I'll talk about Mag Dust for a second here because they're sponsoring this show. They sponsor you. They sponsor me. They help us to create the content that we create, which is very cool. And so just as a company, they're helping to support climbers' dreams. And also, I got to say, the stuff is fantastic. And so I'm like, I use the Mag Juice, Liquid Chalk, and Mag Dust. I'm going to try the new Mag Lock. And it's kind of like their whole thing with that is that it's like, yo, don't use it every day. But when you need to really have the most advantages for the proj, like dip into this. And it's like basically a synthetic, it's like some sort of like kind of futuristic chalk essentially that goes as a base layer and has been shown to keep hands drier for longer. So you don't need to chalk up as much. So on the crux pitch or like on the proj, it sounds like that's the stuff. So I'm waiting to get some of that. And yeah, I love their stuff. I mean, it's really good. It's high quality stuff. They've got free shipping on a lot of bundles. You can get, well, this comes out at the end of February. They're doing 20% off chalk in the month of February using your code or mine. But by the time this comes out, I think it'll be back to like the 15% off. We'll put the codes down in the show notes. If you guys want to score some Mag Dust, Mag Juice, Mag Lock, or any other clothes, I love all their clothes as well, you can use my code or Anna's code, and then that helps us too.
Yeah, that's true. It does help us, which is really nice. Yeah, I've been using Rugni Chalk now exclusively ever since they started sponsoring me. I'm like, I hope to be intentional with my sponsors, and I wouldn't, like, I really do like the chalk, and I use it exclusively. So, like, I don't know, it is good, and I feel like I've sent so many things now with that chalk that it's, you know what I mean? It's like, I need it. Like, oh, maybe it's like bad, I'm dependent, but I think it's great. And I know it's kind of expensive, so it's nice that we do have a code, but also like even just the Mag Dust, like you can just use that for special occasions as well. Like I know they're saying like the premium one you can use for special occasions, but it's like sometimes like the Mag Dust itself is the premium expense because that is quite expensive for a lot of climbers. So just to have it in your, you know, just have it just in case you need it for a special day is also a good way to use it. So but yeah, thank you, Regni, for sponsoring.
I'm reckless with it. I'm throwing it in the air.
Me too.
Oh my God. I'm just like, it's, you know, you get to a rest and you're on a jug and just out of habit, you chalk up. Totally. I'm like getting my hands
I wash my hands with it. Yeah.
And then I'm like, I'm just rubbing it on my pants. I'm like, I'm just coloring my pants white right now. Oh, so good. Just like absolutely reckless.
I also use it so recklessly, but like, hey, whatever. Like for me, it's nice when I chalk up, you know, Oh, okay. Wait, sorry. This is so off tangent. Wait, can we change the subject or is it not?
Yeah, we covered Rugni. Buy Rugni, everybody. Buy some Rugni chalk and help us out and use our codes. Okay. Yeah, let's do a wild pivot. Where are you taking us?
Okay, this is a wild pivot, but you know how I get like tattoos for my climbs?
Yeah.
I do? So what if just like here on my belly, I wrote beast.
So you're the beast.
But like it's the belly of the beast. Like it's for the climb. Like and it's just like in like kind of like intense like writing. Just like here.
I like that.
Is that good? Like is there another idea you have for this climb?
No.
For me? A tattoo?
What's beast?
That would work, right?
What's beast in Espanol? Is there a word for
bestia?
Bestia.
Bestia.
Yeah.
I could write it in Spanish. That's a good idea.
That could be cool too.
That would kind of go hard.
Yeah.
That would be my second Spanish word on my body too. So.
What do you have already?
I have reina there.
Oh yeah, on your tricep there. Yeah. Well, we did. Tattoo. This is great because this is going to come out at the end of February, and then in March 7th, so like a week after this episode drops, our episode of Struggling With Anna Hazelnutt comes out, and
oh, cool.
We go through all of your tattoos in an ice plunge. You show us all of the tattoos and you talk through the stories.
Except for one.
That's right. You did miss one. Which is like, that's forgivable because you have a lot of tattoos and they're all in like totally weird random places. So, and we were sitting in like very cold water at the time. So the brain wasn't working as it normally would. Yep. But for those who are interested in Anna's tattoos and like a little bit of a tour, a bodily tour of her tattoos, you can check those out. And then to come soon. To be announced here, something on the belly, a beast on the belly.
Maybe, yes. That's so exciting. I'm so excited to see our episode. It'll be so many fun memories.
It is freaking hilarious and terrifying. I've seen some of it, like the rough cut of the footage, and it's...
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
You really pushed me out of my comfort zone, dude. That was a crazy day. I'm really proud. I'm really proud of that day, but also I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah. I'm so glad
scary.
you just did it and like pushed and like just decided that, you know what, you like succumbed to my plan. And you were just like, I'm just going to let this happen and I'm just going to try my best. Like you were such a, like 5 stars on that day. Like you just went for it. I was like very impressed. I was like, oh my gosh, like you're just doing, like, here we are and you're going to do it. And you're not like complaining. You're just like, you were like, I'm scared, but you weren't like, you know what I mean? You're like, I'm not going to do that. You're like there for the tasks I set for you.
Well, thank you for doing it. I mean, I just would not have done that on my own. So it was very helpful to have you there. And so for those who are listening who haven't seen it, because I don't think by the time this comes out, I'll have released a teaser or anything, Anna kind of encourages me and ultimately tries to help me do like it's either a free solo or like a really high ball in Vegas. And then we get into some other hijinks as well. And so anyway, stay tuned. March 7th, that's going to come out. And yeah, I was really pushed out of my comfort zone, but in the best way. I had so much fun with you. And it was just fun, like driving around in your car and jamming. And we were roomies at our Airbnb. It just had the best time. It was so fun.
It was really nice. And the slab video we did, oh my gosh, Ryan did so well. I was like, wow. This is great. People
that had nothing to do with me.
Slab and you, and that had everything to do with you. Yes.
No.
It was awesome. I think people resonated with you climbing slab and feeling uncomfortable with it. I feel like sometimes when I climb slab, people are like, like she's just doing it because she's doing it. Like, I don't know. Like there's like a lack of like, I don't know. Sometimes there isn't like the full connection. So it's really nice to be like in a teaching mode and then like see like, what the heck? Oh, I kind of get it. Oh, I did it. So that was
thank
awesome.
you. Yeah. I really loved it. I love the way you edited the shit. Your editing has gotten so good. I mean, you just have such a vibe, the way you do the words and like just also the device for that. So for those who haven't seen it, please go watch it. You've probably seen it where Anna, it's called Slab 101 and Anna teaches me to climb slab. And we were just like hanging out and she's like, I think I need an idea for this video. We had no idea what video you were going to do. And in like a 4-second period, you were like, oh, I got it. Let's go to Home Depot. And like all of a sudden we're in Home Depot looking for plexiglass panes. And you're like, I'm going to do this thing where I draw on the glass and the camera's going to shoot through it. And it was like so specific and such a cool device. And it really worked for the video. And then you edit it so well and it's very funny and the pacing's perfect. So yeah, you're like,
thank you so much.
You got some chops. You got YouTube chops, dude.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Still grinding away. Some videos do better than others. I try not to let it affect me personally. I'm just like, there it is. There's content if you want it. No one needs to watch it. You can. I work really hard on each video. So
yeah. I think it comes through. Like the care that you put into your videos comes through. And yeah, I mean, the algorithm and who the hell knows why certain things take off and certain things don't. Like that's what I've seen on my channel too. But if we can be proud of the things we're putting out and the experiences that we're having, that's really all we can control anyway. And, you know, hopefully the audience discovers it, if not immediately, maybe a year down the road. They're like, oh yeah, and they get served up the thing or they just scroll through the old videos. So yeah, good job on that. And God, that was so much fun. So everybody keep an eye out for that. Rab supported that one, by the way. Rab are the freaking best. I love their gear. Yeah, I mean, you're rocking Rab like exclusively. I got my Rab hoodie on right now. And you've got that like wicked cool puffy that they repaired for you. Is that out there with you?
I don't have, it's too hot today, but I have just like this cool, like black and blue puffy, but the repair puffy is sick. Like it's awesome. I love it.
It's so good. I like it so much. I want to beat up my puffy so that then I have to get it repaired, but like, I don't want to do it recklessly, but at some point in time, I'm going to get that thing snagged on a rock or a tree. And then I'm going to get to put like a really cool, like green patch on it. And so I'm really psyched for when that happens.
It's sick. Yeah, I love that.
How does that work, by the way? Did you like took it to their headquarters to do that, or how does that? But anybody can do that. Like they'll repair it for anybody. I feel like.
Right. Yeah, you can go on their website. There's a wash and repair. I had to get it washed too. It was so dirty. There's a wash and repair button, and you can like put in your custom like requests. I believe it costs money. It's a service. It's not because it's one woman. What's her name? In the back who sews them by hand. So it's like
amazing.
You know, it's a service. I think. That's something to be noted, but yeah, you could just like give them the what you want and kind of like specifics, and they'll do it for you. And I think you just mail it in and then they mail it back to you. And I'm not sure how long it takes. Again, it's just like, bye. Yeah, it's kind of wild.
One lady back there. So it's like, if she's got 30 puppies, you got to wait for it. So maybe do it off season, like if, want to get it repaired. But then you get like a totally unique custom piece of rad gear that's got all these stories to it. It's such a cool service that they offer.
It was awesome. And I was in Colorado, at the monastery and whatnot, there with Carly actually as well. And so I was already in the area and I wanted to stop by Rab because I like stopping by and saying hi because I'm one of their athletes and I have been for a bit now. So I always like saying hi to everyone at headquarters. So especially like the US and the UK. I like going to both of the headquarters whenever I can. So I like came by, said hi, and then they like looked at my jacket, the puppy, and they're just like, oh my God. And then they took it away from me. And then we filmed that reel, which I thought was kind of fun.
It's great.
It was like a fun way to and I wanted to also promote that it is a cool, sustainable way to do it because they reuse materials. It's just awesome, the service they have. So they gave me another puppy in exchange because they're like, yeah, we're taking this one. That's so bad. Here's a new, another one to wear in the meantime. That was nice too. So now I have a cool, other puppy. And I was like,
well,
and then at the end of the trip,
forever.
I picked it up.
It's crazy. I mean, when I was hanging out with Tom, he was wearing a kind of a little zippy, thermal like I've got on right now. And it was year 11 that he's had it. He's like, this is my desert hoodie. I've been wearing it for 11 years and it's a little beat up, but it's still in great shape. And yeah, they do great stuff. So anyway, I'll put a link to Rab down there too. If you all are looking for gear and you don't want to just kind of do the same thing that everybody else does, or, kind of the things that you see out at the Crag all the time, check out Rab, cool company out of Sheffield, all about climbers. Rab was a climber and, they really take care of their athletes as well as their gear is incredible. So yeah, check out Rab. Shout out to Rab. Hey, do you have a few minutes? I got a bunch of people sent in questions. I don't know if they're unhinged or normal, but do you want to just do some listener questions for a few? Okay.
Let's do it.
All right, great. Okay, Alexander writes in, how does Anna approach deloading and recovery after a finger tweak? Well, hopefully you don't get many finger tweaks, but I know you have had one. You and I kind of both had one this past year. That's for a little while. So how do you approach that?
Well, the thing about that finger tweak was I think it was just tightness generally, and I never stopped climbing. It was never bad enough to stop climbing because I knew it wasn't I've never actually injured a finger. So I'm sorry, Alexander. Don't really have too much input, but for that finger tweak, I just tried not to full ass crimp on everything. I was like, I'm just going to do a little more open handing, and then I'm just going to take I think I took 2 days off. And that's not the answer you wanted, but that's the answer I'm giving.
That's great.
Very minimal.
Don't get finger tweaks, but
I guess preventatively warm up. And if you are feeling soreness in the finger, adjust your goals. I was trying lethal design and Red Rock, and I think that gave me a little, I was like, oh, that feels kind of weird. And so then I just didn't climb it for a few days and gave my finger the chance to not get injured.
Nice. Yeah, and I will say also, coming up just after this episode, I did a big interview with physio Stian Christofferson, who's a hell of a climber and works with tons of pro climbers, and wrote a book called The Climbing Bible that's fantastic. And we talk a lot about finger tweaks, actually. And there's certain ones that you really want to rest, and there's certain ones that you want to load kind of right away. And it just depends on what type of tweak or injury it is. So tune into that episode or check out The Climbing Bible. It's really well laid out. Okay, Andy asks, hi, Anna. To what extent do you think identifying so much with a particular style of climbing, such as slab, limits you as a climber?
Wow. How on topic for our conversation today.
Check you out, Andy. Yeah, and we did kind of address that a little bit. But do you still identify as a slab climber, and do you find that limiting?
I do identify. I think it's my best style. I think I thrive and feel the most comfortable in slab and vert, I would say, that kind of movement. And I don't think it's limiting unless you let it be. As you can see, I just sent a very not slab climb, and I've been trying to not let it limit me. But at the same time, I want to hold space for it and appreciate it and kind of have my page be an ode to it. And I think that in that way, it's not limiting. It's just I love slab, but I can do everything else too. It's, as limiting as your mind lets it be.
Yeah, cool. Dig it. I mean, you're not a slab climber anymore. You're an overhung knee barring.
No, I'm a slab climber. Always here and forever. And I'm still chasing those. I'm still chasing the slabs. I want. I have big slab goals. I understand that there's like variety as well. That, yeah.
Yeah, cool. I'm going to start identifying as a slab climber just to see how it feels.
Yeah, just like try it out. Be like, oh, how does this feel? Is this good?
Just going to workshop it. Like when I'm throwing myself against the moon board, I'm going to be like, well, but really I'm a slab climber. So that...
But, okay, you guys.
That V3... And by the way, I've got a bone to pick with you, Hazelnutt. I was going to have a road to V7, and then you felt V8 was more symmetrical, and you put this V8 on me, and so now it's the road to V8. I've announced it, and I'm like... Okay, my goal now is the road to V8, and
yes, good.
I'm terrified. It's so hard for me to boulder. Talk about anti-style. Yes. Like bouldering is anti-style, and
totally,
it's going to be a struggle, Hannah. It's going to be a real struggle.
That's what you want. That's what the name of your content is. You are a struggle. This is perfect. And the thing is, if it was V7, you kind of in your head knew like you could do it, and that's not you. Like you can't.
It was so sorry.
You can't take the easy road. You can't do that. You think you're like in your head. You're like, V7's gonna be really hard. This is gonna be a really tough journey. And then V8 is just like the next. You're like, what? Like that felt like completely. And that's why you got to do it, because it's like you're not. It's not like you don't want just something hard. You need something seemingly impossible for you that you will disprove. You will do it.
Well, we nailed it with that, with a V8. And that's true. Like, to your point, and maybe I will be thanking you for this at some point in time, that because V8 is going to be so hard and so out there that maybe I will achieve V7 at some point in time sooner, and then I'll essentially have hit my original goal before you fucked me and told me that V8 is better because it's symmetrical. But then at some point I will get V8 and I'll be happy because it is symmetrical. So, all right, I'm back on board, but I just, oh man.
Look how nice it looks.
It does look good. It does look good. It looks like a pair of sunglasses, like those rockin' teal sunglasses that I gave you that you're crushing out there. They look so good.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, Carly borrowed them for a bit, so she's been rocking them too. So we're in it. We're ready.
Very good. Okay, let's move on. We're going to talk about Lunaflix says, hey, Anna, do you have any crag snack tips? Well, I guess like a large pizza with a bunch of eggs on it.
Yeah. Okay, crag snacks. Realistically, I do rely heavily on bars, hopefully bars that have like minimal and healthy ingredients. That's awesome if you can afford that, or make your own bars. I think, especially on the wall, like you just can't beat it. Electrolytes, very important as well. So you don't get like that cotton, like, you know, like when you're like your mouth is just like, oh my God, I'm dying and I'm scared and all that. Like it's dry. So you got to get the electrolytes. And then I always have like,
do you have like actual like electrolytes you put in water, or are you crushing Gatorade?
Oh, I just buy, I'm just like Gatorade type drinks over here. Like whatever I can find. It doesn't, like for me, it doesn't really matter. Like I'm going through calories so fast. It's just like, I just need them in. Like I just need them. And then, and like the sugar is great. Any kind of like quick sugary carby snack is also really good to have in there, like and some salts, you know, if you don't have, like sometimes I have pretzels, nuts, dates, like things like that. And then I always have like an actual meal that I bring through the day. I don't believe in just snacking because I'm like, I just need to refuel. I need a lunchtime, but I'll usually like separate it into like 2 parts, so it's like a little more palatable, because sometimes I don't always feel like eating, but I know I have to. So for the pizzas, for example, I made like, I took with me on the wall like sandwiches of pizza with egg in it, but like I kind of had them in separate tinfoil wraps, so it just felt like 2, you know. Or sometimes I'll make like quesadillas with like meat in it or something like that, or egg or whatever it is, and then I'll put them in like 2 quesadillas in this one, 2 in here, 2 in here, so I have 6, but like they're in little like packages, especially on the bake wall. So you like open one up and you eat all of it, and then like in 2 hours you eat another one, and things like that.
That's smart.
So I like to piecewise my meals, but I definitely need real food, and I don't know how people do it without real food. Good for them. I can't do that.
Well, I exclusively eat nerd gummies, so that's the other side of
the sugar is good though. You want that, like you do want like a sugary, like whatever your form of sugar is. I usually do it in like fruits and stuff, but like sometimes I do have candies and like
I think nerd gummies kind of falls in the fruit category because they're berry flavored, right? And so they're
exactly. Yeah, you're right. It's
within the realm. My buddy was telling me the other day
fruits and nerds.
Yeah, they like apparently nerds workshopped the nerd gummy, like focus grouped the nerd gummy. And the focus groups were like, no, these are terrible. Don't do it. And then somebody, some genius, some luminary at Nerds HQ was like,
a virtuoso
focus groups. Well, these are amazing. We're coming out with them. And apparently at 10X, they were like a $50 million company, and then Nerd Gummies comes out, and they're a $500 million company now. That's performance fruit right there for you. 10X your revenue.
Imagine that. Good for them. Good for you for having them. Good job.
I should try to get Nerd Gummies to sponsor the show. But, Boulder Bears is a sponsor of the show, and I'll shout out Boulder Bears too, because I was sessioning today and flailing, ate some of their caffeinated gummy bears, you guys. I'll put a link in the thing. And a little discount code. They're so good. You've had them, of course. And, oh, God, they taste good. They're sour. They got a little caffeine hit in them. Ooh, Boulder Bears.
Yeah,
little Boulder Bears. I can't only eat those because then I'll be, like, grinding my teeth as if I, like, snorted 10 rails of cocaine. But, because I'm very caffeine sensitive, but I'll have a few Boulder Bears and then a handful of Nerd Gummies. I've never done cocaine, you guys. And then that's I just have to say that, right?
With like all your Hollywood climb?
Everybody in Hollywood does cocaine all the time, but that's, that's why I never made it. They're like, oh, you should go be a rock climber podcaster in Kentucky because you don't do cocaine.
Because it's like a...
Yeah, but I was like, I do Boulder Bears. And they're like, well, it's not
I do
hard
Boulder
enough.
Bears, which is similar, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not hard enough.
They're like, snort a Boulder Bear. And I tried, and I got a sinus infection. It was a whole thing. So, okay, so that was Crag's next. Okay, last question. We'll get you out of here because I know you've got to go pee in the grass or poop in a bowl or whatever one does.
I actually really do need to pee. Yeah.
Okay. Well, like 3 minutes. We have JK Crimps says, Anna, what's the update on the feet business? Oh, see, this is what the people are here for, Anna. Oh,
they want this.
She's showing her feet
covered
right
up
now.
Though. This is all covered up. Not for free. Not for free. No.
Only for fans.
This is for the fans. So I mean, it's still thriving. Actually, it's not. I think it's at like its all-time low right now on my OnlyFans. But I do have pictures of me up on that freaking belly pitch with my feet. Like you get the whole depth of it. It's pretty awesome. Like, are my foot pics sexual at all? No. Not at all. But do they show me in cool places where my feet have taken me? Absolutely. It's worth it just for that. And then with every new subscriber, you're supporting me doing things like this, like trying to help with the FA of this Shaman Loco. Like it's and
good. Could one make them sexual if they wanted? Yes, because you don't know. Like, there's freaks out there. There's fetish. Like, people might be into like feet on rock stuff or whatever. Like you're not saying what somebody can do with these pics or not. You're just putting beautiful feet pics out there.
Exactly. I'm just putting beautiful foot pics out there of my mangled, ugly climbing feet, and you can do whatever you want to those photos. You can, if you're a subscriber, like you can print them out. You can put them right on your bathroom door. You can do whatever you want. You just have to pay me first.
Right.
And that's fine. That's good. You should tip me. In fact, if you do that, you should tip me. You should get on there, pay for the monthly subscription. And then if you print out one of those photos, you should tip that photo like at least $50.
Yeah. Just the tip though. Oh.
Mic drop. End of podcast.
Good night, everybody.